Ottoman Princes. Some were slaughtered at a young age. Some waited in line for the throne for years. Some became sultans and became the head of the empire of the world. But there was one prince whose life story was different from all of them. He was kidnapped and fell into the hands of the Europeans, became a Christian by being baptized, and moreover, he served as a priest. Here's the story of Prince Osman, named Ottoman Priest. February 8, 1640. It was a cold winter day. That day, Murad IV, the 17th Ottoman Sultan, breathed his last. There was only one male heir left to ascend to the Ottoman throne. He was Sultan Ibrahim I, who would be nicknamed the Madman. Sultan Ibrahim did not have any children when he ascended to the throne, so if a disaster befell the Sultan, the Ottoman lineage would dry up. For this reason, his mother Kösem Sultan offered the most beautiful girl she had brought from all over the world to her son. Sünbül Agha, the eunuch, also joined the efforts to bring beautiful concubines to the palace and made the Sultan like them. Sünbül Agha had brought a young girl named Zafir, whom he had seen among the slaves while traveling in bazaar, and admired her beauty, for a few gold coins to present her to the Sultan. It was soon realized that Zafir was pregnant. According to the procedure of the harem, concubines to be presented to the Sultan had to be virgins. Therefore, this young and beautiful Georgian girl could not become a concubine. Sünbül Agha, who served as the head of the harem, could not bear to throw Zafir, who was pregnant, out of the palace. After time passed, Zafir gave birth to a male baby. Sünbül Agha named the child Osman and adopted him as his own child. Actually, this was an abnormal situation, because men in charge of the harem were castrated and had no children. Sünbül Agha's adoption of a child with an unknown father in this way was considered ridiculous among palace staff and public, and for this reason the child began to be nicknamed Bastard of Eunuch. While this was happening behind secret doors of harem, there were new developments on visible side. Sultan Ibrahim I had a son named Mehmed, born to a concubine named Turan Sultan. Thus, Ottoman lineage was saved from drying up. Zafir, whom head of harem could not bear to throw away, was given a new job. Since they had given birth at the same time, and her milk had not yet stopped, Zafir was to be Prince Mehmed's wet nurse. While Zafir was breastfeeding Prince Mehmed as a wet nurse, she attracted attention of Sultan Ibrahim I. Ibrahim I, who was not in good mental state, he was helpless in face of Zafir's beauty and began to fall in love with this woman. Even fact that she had child with unknown father was not enough to dissuade Sultan, and even Sultan Ibrahim started to love Osman as if he was his own son. After a while, Zafir Hatun, her son Osman, and Ibrahim I were spending time together like family. Of course, this situation disturbed Turan Sultan, mother of Prince Mehmed, and Kösem Sultan, mother of Sultan. The Sultan Ibrahim was not satisfied with entertaining Zafir Hatun and went one step further and announced that he would declare Osman, who was not of his own lineage, as his prince. Osman was few months older than Prince Mehmed. If he was legally recognized as prince according to Ottoman law, this boy whose father was unknown would be the #1 candidate for the throne. Perhaps at the end of the event, a sultan of unknown lineage would ascend to the throne. Turan Sultan and Kösem Sultan started to put pressure on Sultan Ibrahim I to prevent this disgrace and to put their own Prince Mehmed on the throne. The famous Turkish historian Rashad Ekrem Kocu describes an incident that took place during this time in his book, The Bastard of Eunuch, as follows. One day, Ibrahim was sitting on the edge of the marble pool in the garden of the palace, playing with the bastard of the eunuch on his lap. Turan Sultan, who had run out of all of her patience, approached Ibrahim with her prince, and with insults expelled Zafir, the wet nurse, from the Sultan's presence. Sultan Ibrahim jumped out of his seat with great anger and snatched his own son from Turan Sultan's lap. He lifted his son up in the air and threw him into the large marble pool with a terrifying movement. The little Prince Mehmed made a curve in the air and sank his forehead first into the marble section in the center of the pool and then into the clear waters of the pool. One of the palace staff jumped into the pool and embraced Prince and saved him from death. This incident was the last straw in the palace. Zafir and her son Osman could no longer stay in Istanbul. Moreover, Kösem and Kösem Sultan were very angry with Sünbül Agha, eunuch who had brought Zafir Hatunu into palace. Sünbül Agha was afraid that something might happen to him, so he asked for permission from Sultan and took Zafir and Osman and set sail for Egypt on a ship. However, they were intercepted off the Mediterranean by 6 ships belonging to Maltese pirates. Sünbül Agha and other Ottoman soldiers on board died in battle, while Zafir and her son Osman were captured. Maltese sailors thought Osman was Sultan's own son. Therefore, they took him to the island of Malta and handed him over to Lasukris, the leader of the Knights of Malta. Thinking that they had captured a great booty to use against Ottomans, Maltese celebrated for days. News that son of Ottoman Sultan had been captured caused great repercussions in Europe. Zafir Hatun died 3 months after arriving in Malta for an unknown reason. Osman grew up in a castle under the supervision of the Knights of Malta until the age of 12. When he was 12 years old, he was baptized and became Christian and was sent to the church to learn the Bible. His name was also changed, and he was named Dominique St. Thomas. From there, he traveled to Spain and then to Rome. In Rome, he appeared before Pope Clemens IX. Dominique St. Thomas aroused great curiosity in the Christian world. As eldest son of Ottoman Sultan, Christians in Italy called him Pedro Ottomano, that is Ottoman Priest. The Pope intended to organize a crusade against the Ottoman Empire by using him. For this reason, he sent Ottoman priests to many countries, especially France. However, he could not get the results he expected. In time, the truth began to surface, and the Christian world realized that this person was not the real son of the Ottoman Sultan. Dominique St. Thomas, who was realized not to be the real prince and whose name was gradually forgotten, returned to Malta and closed himself in the monastery. After a short life like a film, he died in Malta at the age of 34.